Anomaly detected. Override engaged.
Sensors detect a vessel here. It doesn't match any of the profiles we have encountered. Send in a team to investigate. We are detecting various ships surrounding the alien vessel. They appear to be inactive.
Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and we're back again with, I believe this will be now part 7 of our Let's Play series. Now, if you've watched the last couple of battles through the Gardens and the Cathedrals of Kadesh, you know we've taken a bit of a beating in the fighter department. We've also decided to kind of change the makeup of our fleet a little bit, insofar as we are actually going to get rid of this Titan carrier because for some reason... Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be implemented later in the game, but we can't build from it. And if you look at the, where is it, the ship population here. Capital ships.
Resource collector awaiting
instructions. I mean, we can have a lot more destroyers, but the rest of these slots would be open for either carriers or eventually battle cruisers. But the problem is that right now that ship is eating up a slot, and all it's giving us is a place to really just drop off resources because we don't need the extra carrying capacity for ships. So it's just kind of eating up a slot, and it's not giving us enough functionality. And in this level, we are going to actually get, at the end of it, the ability to access just the option to build our own carriers. So this carrier has more or less served its purpose, and since we're going to get a straight trade for the resources, it's better to just kind of get rid of this thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to select it, come down to this option, retire,
acknowledged.
and yeah, that Titan carrier has really, I mean, it wasn't all that useful. In the original game, it would have served a bit more of a purpose because you could actually build from it. But here, under the rules of the game as it is, it doesn't really serve that much of a purpose. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to just recycle it for the resource units, and we're going to have a purpose for those, being that we're probably going to build another destroyer, and we're going to build our own carrier. I mean, capturing a carrier like that would probably be more useful later on in the game once we've already passed the capital ship, the cap, and we can actually just start stacking extra ships on top if that's even possible, because obviously there's some differences with these rules and the original rules, so who knows. But right now it's kind of pointless, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of it. Now, as you can see, we are over the cap on frigates right now. The limit is 21, and we now have 23. So what we're doing here...
Group 5 copies.
...is we're taking Group 5. We're going to fatten that group out a little bit with our brand new multi-beam frigates. Right
Copy.
There.
Group 5 reinforced.
New formation acknowledged.
So we've got wall formation selected. Now what we're going to do with this... we're going to move these guys to a midway point right about
Strike
here
coordinates locked in
to kind of block this guy off. Now, he's not actually going to come for us, but we need to be prepared because this level it's kind of like a breather level. It's kind of like a place to sit down, rebuild your forces, kind of get yourself organized, and so that's what we're going to use it for. Now you can see we've just picked up our resources off the carrier. We're now at over 10,000 resource units. So while they're doing that, we are going to dispatch
collection confirmed
our resource collectors. Now you can be pretty free and easy with your resource collectors, because as you can see, all these little orange dots all around us, those are the resource units, and they are well away from the enemy. So we don't really have to worry about them getting picked up, and when you see this enemy, you'll understand a little bit more. Now, let's see what we got here in this fleet. We still got our ion cannon frigates, our stolen ones from the Tyrannic Raiders. It's kind of
ready.
Kind of nice little souvenir. We've also managed to steal one of these fuel pods. I think this is pretty much just eating up a Corvette slot, but I'm not too concerned about it. I mean, it's more like a souvenir than anything else. So now that we've dealt with that, we've got our forces in place. One of the things that we're going to have to deal with is we got pretty beat up in terms of our fighters. They got chewed up while we were trying to put them back away at the beginning of every battle when they would get jumped. So we're going to re-augment them because bombers are very critical for resolving this level in such a way that
construction underway.
You're really not going to be suffering too much.
Attack bomber complete.
Birds are clear.
It's a way to resolve this level
construction underway.
more surgically, and to not have to worry about
Attack
so
bomber
much about
complete.
all the resources you're going to burn through resolving this level. You know, more traditionally just kind of going in and
Attack
fighting it
bomber
out.
complete.
This level, if you use a little bit of tactics and a little bit of tact, you can actually kind of trick it out a little bit and get it completed without really costing
bomber
yourselves too
complete.
many critical forces. Now we'll get into that in just a second once we deal with it, but we're just kind of getting our attack bombers all set up.
Standing by.
But what we can do is we take Group 1. Now Group 1's going to be somewhat of the sacrificial lamb,
Attack bomber complete.
because we need them to basically tease the enemy out. And I'll get into that a little bit more in depth, but we
Attack
want them
bomber
up
complete.
here with Group 5 so that once the action starts, you'll see what I'm doing and I'll explain it in just a second. But I want to
Attack
make sure
bomber
I've got all the
complete.
attack bombers more or less on their way. That's good enough. So let's get
Attack
in here
bomber
with Group
complete.
1. So we're just going to
Reporting.
pick one fighter. We're going to zoom out, and we're going to use the W key to set waypoints.
Attack
And we're just
bomber
going to dip
complete.
them in, and then dip them back out.
Waypoint confirmed.
We just want them to come in,
Attack
tease
bomber
them,
complete.
and draw them out.
Attack bomber complete.
And there they are. We got a missile destroyer. There's the alien ship.
Attack bomber complete. Attack bomber complete.
Attention. Those ships are operational. We believe the control center is the alien vessel. It should be neutralized.
Attack bomber complete.
Thanks, Professor.
Attack bomber complete.
So more or less what we're doing is we're taking the scout and we're just bouncing it back and forth. And we're trying to draw these ships away
Attack
from
bomber
that
complete.
control center, because if your ships get too close, any capital class ships, it will seize control of your ships as well. And then instead of fighting just fighting those
Attack
ships,
bomber
you're
complete.
going to be fighting your own ships as well.
Green line
And so
confirmed.
what we're trying to do is draw these guys as far out of their control zone as possible, and then we're going to engage them
Attack
with Group
bomber
5 at
complete.
range. We're going to pick them apart. And then once that's done, the one ship we're going to leave behind is the missile destroyer,
Attack bomber complete.
and we're
Destination
going
locked
to basically try to resolve this in such a way as to keep the missile destroyer, but get rid of the rest
Attack
of these
bomber complete.
get rid of the rest of these frigates.
There's nothing left out here. Moving to destination.
But of course, the trick is you got to kind of play with them a little bit. Now there is a multi-beam frigate in there.
Coordinates confirmed.
There's a bunch of little odds and ends, but there's nothing there that's really, groundbreaking or earth-shattering, and I don't want to sit here and have to build all the salvage corvettes to scoop all of this up with impunity. I don't want to be here, and I want to use those resources for other things, so I'm just going to go ahead and just destroy these frigates. We'll have plenty of
Green line
opportunities in the future to steal pretty immense frigate fleets, so we don't really need to keep these guys around.
Green line confirmed.
Alright, so they're pretty far out now. Good. These guys have done their job. Now it's
Group
time for
5.
Group 5 to move in
Strike group,
and
prepare for assault.
Get rid of these guys.
Defensive perimeter set.
So like I said, we're going to be pretty surgical here. We're just going to edge them in just a little bit. And we're going to be ready to stop them in place.
Roger, attack withdrawn. Strike group to battle positions.
Now you have to be careful because your
Strike
ships
group
always like
reports
to move
hostile
while they're
contact.
attacking, and the problem is they can destroy themselves doing this sort of thing. But we gotta get rid of all these frigates because these frigates are the only things that can destroy our attack bombers when they gotta do their job. So we need to get rid of the assault frigates for sure. We are going to lose some frigates here,
Strike
but
group attack order
what we're going to
confirmed.
gain is so
Breach in
much
starboard
more.
fusion chamber. All personnel code red. Strike group prepare for assault.
Frigate lost.
What's our damage?
Frigate lost. Frigate lost.
Strike group to battle positions.
Frigate lost.
Strike group to battle positions. Strike group prepare for assault. Strike group attack order confirmed.
Alright, he's going to pop.
Moving while engaging. Engineering reports damage. Cabin pressure dropping.
Group 5 reports enemy contact.
Moving while engaging.
Frigate lost.
Stand down, we're on hold. Strike group moving into position.
That's great when
Strike
you
group
issue
coordinates
movement
locked in.
orders and your ships don't actually follow them. That's awesome. Maybe not. Alright, he's giving up again. No, I was thinking about following your orders, but then I thought, maybe not. Alright, so let's get our attack
Copy.
bomber. Oops.
Standing by.
Alright.
Group 2 reinforced.
Okay. Let's...
Defensive perimeter set.
Alright. Let's move this set. Now we are going to move them towards this target. We'll line it up, and then we're going to use the shift key to add some height. Move them up
Move order
above.
confirmed.
And now we are going to use these guys to, basically, whenever they do damage to that control ship, they disrupt its control. So what we're going to do is we're going to damage that so much that it's just going to lose control of the missile destroyer, and then we will inherit that missile destroyer. And we'll also inherit the technology to build it. And then there'll be a little bit more exposition, a little bit more story, and then we will get the ability to build carriers. And so this level is going to be more of I mean, the fighting is pretty much all done now. So this is going to be more of a rest, relax, rebuild, and get ready for the next fight. And the next battle is actually my favorite battle in the entire game. It was just my favorite level in the entire thing. So we're just waiting for these
Group 2 reports enemy contact.
bombers to move in. Now the reason why we're using bombers is that missile destroyers are exceptionally
Group 2
weak
under attack.
against bombers. And you can see we set them to defensive. These guys can barely do anything. In fact, while he's trying to pummel these guys down, he's maybe going to kill
Group
one
2
or
reports
two
enemy
if he's
contact.
lucky. As you can see, I mean, he's just not getting
Stay on
anything.
top of them. Attacking capital
So
ship.
now we're going to sweep them in from above. Let's take just one here. Let's get a little bit more of a cinematic view.
I caught one.
this would be the control bar here. And every time they put
Our
up an
weapons are
attack,
having minimal effect on the alien vessel, but each strike causes a tiny fluctuation in the control field. Direct all fire at the alien ship in an attempt to disable the field. Vessel neutralized.
there you go.
While the field was up, they were able to analyze the alien control system. We now have control of the foreign vessels. Send a salvage team to further investigate the alien ship.
New research available. New capital ships.
After seizing the missile destroyer, construction reports we can now build a similar vessel.
Now, ordinarily, I would kind of pursue something like that, but it's just I've always found that the missile destroyers were of somewhat dubious value, so
Docking underway.
we're not going to bother. There's really no point. Oh, well, you know, we can actually use that fuel pod to dock from. So we're just going to move him in with Group 5. It's funny how I just seized control. That guy. I didn't even transfer a crew to it, but it's mine. Okay, sure.
On our way.
Now let's
Ready.
get a salvage corvette over here. Salvage the technology. Research. So we've got all the bombers we're really going to need. Frigate-wise, we're pretty decent. Nothing that we really need to be concerned about, but what I do want is I do want some more heavy hitters. So, I mean, we already have the one missile destroyer, so let's
Construction
add another
underway.
destroyer. And then we'll look at our fighter situation here. Got plenty of multi-gun corvettes, but corvettes is one area where
Resource
we are
collector
kind of
awaiting
shy.
orders. Docking signal green.
So let's build that back up.
Assembly underway.
Let's
Construction
knock together
underway.
10 more
Berths
of
are
those
clear.
things.
You are clear to dock. Roger. Collection confirmed.
Just sworn I took
Docking
these guys
signal
to
green.
harvest, but I guess I
Reporting.
didn't.
Resources locked in.
There's actually plenty of resources on this level, so
Reporting.
Multi-gun corvette complete.
Guard order
just follow
confirmed.
that one around.
Confirmed.
The center of the galaxy is a little bit obscured in this level, so you can't really see it, but as you move in, you know, you're
Multi-gun
gonna
corvette
be
complete.
moving closer and closer and closer to it, and it gets brighter, and it's just another one of those little details in the game that just made it so great. But all these images that you're seeing, obviously this is a lot more high res than the original, but when you're playing the original and you're playing this, I mean, you really do get the sense of scale and the sense that you're really sort of like,
Multi-gun corvette complete.
it's almost like you're standing on the edge of eternity and you can just see, like, for millions and millions of light years, and it really just gives that extra feeling of just kind of being immersed in the game. And that's one of the things that I always loved about the original Homeworld. So here we are, we're moving in,
Multi-gun
and
corvette
we're
complete.
scooping up whatever we need to, the technology with the salvage corvette. And I always liked these levels too, because it wasn't just straight up combat, it also kind of laid the groundwork for a lot of lore, especially
Multi-gun
with the
corvette
last battle
complete.
with the Kadeshi. and them being, you know, an offshoot of our race, and now with, you know, just this ancient derelict, it just kind of built up a universe all around you and built up the lore of all these different races. And I always kind of felt that one of the real missed opportunities was an MMO based on Homeworld. I mean, I would love to have a game where I could sort of basically maybe even play as one of my destroyers and just have that be my ship, and then just kind of wander around and explore the galaxy with,
Acknowledged.
you know, sort of with this ship, and just have the ship's crew and just kind of, you know, wander around through these zones and kind of like level the ship up and build it up and add all kinds of extra features to it. Like you'll see in Homeworld 2, there's a much more robust ship system, and you can add certain systems to ships and whatnot, and certain abilities. And I think that would be a real opportunity there, something to explore. I mean, if they were to launch a Kickstarter campaign for a Homeworld MMO, where you got to basically control one of these ships and explore the universe, yeah, I'd throw in on that. Absolutely. I would totally get in on that. Just the chance to explore this universe and see more of the lore.
Standing
Even
by.
as, you know, one of these little ion cannon frigates or as an assault frigate would be interesting, but, you know, at least a destroyer or a destroyer, a cruiser, or a carrier would be pretty damn interesting.
Nothing but gravel out here. Acknowledged.
Alright, buddy.
Multi-gun corvette complete.
Actually,
Reporting.
do we have all these guys in group 5?
Confirmed.
Group 5 reinforced.
So we got that done. I guess we can use some more frigates. What kind of frigates do I want, though? Do I want something to sweep corvettes and frigates, or do I want something that's more frigates and capital ships? Oh, you know what? Let's do some.
Construction underway.
Couple of
Stand by
drone
for
frigates.
acquisition and transfer.
Salvage team docked. The alien ship is millions of years old. Its purpose is unclear. Research Division reports it has developed plans for gravity warping technology based on the alien control field. We advise commencing research immediately.
Oh.
We have known of this ship, but could never approach it. We are particularly vulnerable to its influence. The Bentusi would like the information you have acquired. It will be transferred automatically if you choose to trade.
Sure thing. Super heavy chassis.
The information was successfully transferred. Thank you.
The Taidan are determined to destroy us. Will you help us defeat them?
Conflict is not our way. We will bring your cause to the Galactic Council. The Taidan rule the Empire, but even they must answer to the Council.
Hyperspace module fully charged. Engage at your discretion.
Alright, so we're actually going to do this research, and we are going to, where's the other one? Oh no, we just got it, that's right.
Assembly
So,
underway.
let's get our carrier going. So you know what? Forget that drone frigate. We don't want it now. We've got other plans.
Standing by.
So we're gonna wait for that carrier to build. Take a look at this drone frigate. Now, let's see. How do we pop it open? Here we are.
Drones away.
So it's got this little So what it does is it launches all these little, let's see if we can't get close to one. All these little swarming drones, and they form kind of like a fighter
Research
screen.
complete.
And you got this little control radar communication device on the nose here. It's an interesting little ship. Not altogether all that valuable in the game, but I mean it would have been more valuable against the swarmers, but I just never really had a chance to get down and build them. And you know, when you're hitting the ground running and resources are kind of at a premium, you really don't get the opportunity. And as they auto-destruct, it shoots out new ones to replace them as they burn themselves out.
Retracting drones.
So it's an interesting little ship, but altogether I wouldn't say it's
Ready.
overly valuable. So let's take him, shift
Group
plus 5. So now we've got all of them here.
Group 5 reinforced.
So we should have, what, 4 destroyers now? 3 traditional and a missile destroyer. And we're just waiting on some resources for that carrier to finish. It looks like we're going to get them right here. Not totally, but...
That's everything. Seal the ports. Resource collector awaiting instructions. Resources locked in. Collection confirmed.
It's a problem with these fast distances is these resource collectors are kind of every once in a while they just kind of go like, oh well, I've got nothing else to do, yet there's still resources out there.
Ready. Confirmed. Confirmed.
Actually, you know what? What do we have left here? Carrier's almost done, so what we're gonna do...
Confirmed.
You know what? Let's recycle this
We have
drone
our
ship.
orders. Take her home.
We're gonna recycle this drone ship. If we want one, we'll build one later. I'm not too worried about it. I want to get this carrier out, and I want to knock this level out of the way. We're gonna have a lot of resources once we auto-collect all the crap out here, so I'm not too worried about it. I just would like to see this carrier get launched and then call this a day. Besides, the Kushan have really nice looking carriers. I mean, the Titan carriers I always found were kind of ugly. And one of the drawbacks, I mean, in the original you could play as the Titan. You could play as either the Titan or the Kushan to finish this game, and they would just kind of reverse roles. And the Titan had some really interesting looking ships and some really cool looking ships. But the Titan carrier was by far just one of the ships I despised the most,
There's
because I
nothing
just
left
found
out
it
here.
was, it really didn't look like a carrier to me. The carrier, it was just that one big open bay, and I kind of didn't like the design, whereas the Kushan was a lot more intricate, and it looked a lot more functional, and a lot less like just a box that you could land in. Oh, tell me we're gonna make it.
Carrier complete.
Yes. Here it is. So you have these two bays on the side here for fighters and corvettes. You have this landing pad for the resources. And then you have this giant bay right down the middle, this giant construction bay where it will actually build frigates. Now, you don't get to see the frigates actually being built inside. That would be amazing if you could. But they will launch out of there. And that's one of the things that just makes this such a cool carrier. And one of my favorite ships in the game. I really love this design. So anyways, there we go. We've got our first carrier. We've got a brand new missile destroyer and a brand new destroyer. We're looking pretty solid. We're about to get a big boost in resources, so let's go ahead and end this level here and move on to the next one. We'll watch the cutscene, and then I'll catch up with you guys in the next video.
At ease.
We are about to enter the outer limits of the Tidan Empire. As we approach the galactic core, resistance is expected to increase. We have identified a weak point in the enemy defenses. There is a remote research station located near an active supernova. It should only have a minor garrison protecting it.